Hello, I'm Bob Bloom. A city that's the center of industry, commerce, and recreation for more than 1.5 million people. That city, Oakland, California. Half surrounded by one of the world's great bays, the area is undergoing vast changes and improvements as it maintains a leading pace in this great nation of ours. The athletic hub of this great area is the new Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, a fabulous 50,000-seat stadium that will be the home of the Silver and Black, the Oakland Raiders, the dynamic football team which represents the East Bay in the American Football League. The American Professional Football League is starting its 6th year of operation. For 3 years, the Raiders were the doormats of the league. But in 1963, under the brilliant coaching and direction of new general manager head coach Al Davis, the Raiders exploded on the sports world, exuding pride, poise, and a thrilling scoring punch which captured the imagination of the nation's sports fans. The Raiders rode to a 10-4 record in an unforgettable season that established the Silver and Black as a power to be reckoned with in the future. The astounding rebuilding continued in 1964. The Raiders survived some heartbreaking losses early in the season, and in what has become a dramatic tradition for the prideful Raiders, roared down the stretch to win 5 games and tie 1 in the final 8 contests. The American Football League champion Buffalo Bills and Western Division champion San Diego Chargers both fell to the Silver and Black as the Raiders proved they were getting close to the league's class clubs. There were other giant strides by the Raider organization. Fan enthusiasm and season ticket sales soared. Off-season trades for top players and the development of young rookies were noted. Player benefits in the form of a pension plan and group medical insurance were established. Experts say the Raiders had the finest draft in all of professional football. This, then, is an exciting highlight review of the 1964 season, a season which opened with a fine exhibition campaign and finished with a dramatic game against the San Diego Chargers. Here's a close-up look of some of the Raiders who played a part in this chapter of the dynamic, growing story of the Silver and Black of Oakland. Center Jim Otto of the University of Miami, a 5-year All-League performer. Guard Wayne Hawkins, University of Pacific. Offensive lineman Ken Rice, former Auburn All-American. Quarterback Cotton Davidson, the veteran from Baylor University. Fullback Billy Cannon, the former Heisman Trophy winner from LSU. Halfback Clem Daniels from Prairie View A&M. Middle linebacker Arch Matzes, a steady veteran from Michigan State. The rookie linebacker John Robert Williamson, who played at Louisiana Tech. Defensive end Ben Davidson, the giant from Washington University. Tackle Danny Birdwell, a rugged performer from Houston U. Tackle Dave Costa, another coming star who played at Utah University. Defensive back and punt return specialist Hoot Gibson, who was an All-American at North Carolina State. Young quarterback Tom Flores, another graduate of the University of Pacific. And Art Powell, one of football's finest receivers from San Jose State. And kicker Mike Mercer, a punter and field goal specialist from Arizona State Hagstaff. A record crowd turned out for the 1964 home opener. The Raiders won the toss, elected to receive. Billy Cannon, making his first start for Oakland, returns the kickoff 19 yards. After an exchange of punts, the Raiders start driving. This slow-motion action shows quarterback Tom Flores completing a 15-yarder to Clem Daniels. And the season's first touchdown is set up by this Flores toss to Art Powell to the Patriots' 3. Glenn Shaw slams into the center for the score. Mike Mercer's kick puts Oakland into the lead, 7-0. We pick up the action in the second quarter with the Pats on the move. Veteran quarterback Babe Perilli hooks up with end Art Graham on a 70-yard bomb for a TD. Gino Capoletti ties it with his PAT as the half ends 7-7. Late in the third period, Perilli again takes to the air, hitting Capoletti for 10 yards. Now from the Raider 19, Perilli throws a beauty which tight end Tony Romeo dives for in the end zone. With the conversion, it goes to 14-7 Boston at the end of three quarters. Capoletti hits on a field goal to make it 17-7. The Raiders storm back. Here Cannon booms for 18 on a perfectly executed draw play. Now Flores completes the drive with this 33-yard strike to Powell. Mercer added the point to make it 17-14. This nifty punt return by Hoot Gibson put the Raiders within grasp of the victory as we switch to slow motion when Hoot catches the football. However, the drive dies on the Boston 4 on a fumble. The Raiders lost a tough one, 17-14. A heartbreaking loss to Houston on the road followed. The Raiders returned home to face the strong Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders led 9-7 going into the fourth quarter on 3 Mike Mercer field goals, and we'll take a look at how one of them was set up. Punt formation. The Chiefs boot the ball. Hoot Gibson waiting, and he returns it upfield 44 yards. Kansas City moves in front on this Len Dawson to Abner Haynes completion of 56 yards, paving the way for a 21-9 Chief victory. Despite 3 losses, the Raiders went into Buffalo primed for a top effort. The Raiders had 1 touchdown called back, but got a field goal from Mike Mercer as the Bills took a 7-3 halftime lead. In the third period, we'll pick up the action with Cotton Davidson, the veteran quarterback, at the controls for the Oakland Raiders. Oakland gets hot as Davidson seeks out Art Powell on this pass to the Bills' 47. Now Cotton goes to the other side and hits Cornell's Bo Roberson to the 4-yard line. Davidson now calls his own quarterback draw play and finds a big lane for the touchdown. Watch it again in slow motion as Kenny Rice and former Minnesota star Frank Uso get the key blocks. With Mercer's PAT, the Raiders take a 10-7 lead. Buffalo comes back. And here, Big Cookie Gilchrist breaks 3 tackles and gains 20 yards to the Raider 12. Quarterback Darryl LaMonica, subbing for Jackie Kemp, keeps it himself for the touchdown. Pete Gogolak kicks the point, and Buffalo regains the lead 14-10 into the fourth period. Oakland inched closer in another Mercer field goal, but LaMonica goes to the speedy Albert DeBenion on this 44-yard hookup. Gogolak's conversion makes it 21-13 for Buffalo, but the Raiders aren't through yet as Cotton gets another drive going. Here Cotton, with good protection from Jim Otto, Dick Klein, and Wayne Hawkins, fires for 18 to Kenny Harrock at the Bills' 12. Cotton takes time to confer with Coach Al Davis, and the advice pays off as Davidson zeroes in on Fresno State's Jan Barrett for the score. Watch it again in slow motion as Barrett is all alone in the end zone. Raiders, fighting down to the wire, got inside the Bills' 35, but time ran out, and the Silver and Black had lost another tough one. Following a loss to the Jets in bitter cold New York, the embattled Raiders go into Boston, where their fortunes start to change. Here's offensive backfield coach Johnny Roush, a former great All-American quarterback at Georgia and a professional player of renown. Patriot quarterback Babe Parilli gets nailed here by linebackers Clancy Osborne of Arizona State, rookie John Williamson of Louisiana Tech. And in another defensive play, middle linebacker Archie Matzes picks off a Parilli throw intended for Art Graham. On the attack now, Clem Daniels takes a swing pass from Cotton Davidson, and as we switch to slow motion, with the help of Bob Mishak of Army, Wayne Hawkins, and Billy Cannon, puts the Raiders into a 10-7 lead. Here again now is young John Williamson stopping Larry Guerin for a loss on a key 4th and 1 situation. That defensive play sets up this 49-yard touchdown bomb from Davidson to Roberson, making it 17-7 Oakland. Here Art Powell scores their Davidson pass, crashing into the retaining wall out of the end zone, but holding on to the football. Later in the game now, Billy Cannon, with fine blocking by Yusuf, Mishak, and Jan Barrett, rips 34 yards into the end zone. Watch this next play, an impromptu razzle-dazzle, 2-lateral thriller, covering 58 yards and setting up a Patriot TD. Starts with Pirelli tossing to Jim Coldclaw, who laterals to Gino Capoletti, who in turn laterals to Ron Burton, who's finally tackled by Hoot Gibson and young Billy Budness, the linebacker from Boston University. Then with 10 seconds left and with the score 43-40 in Boston's favor, Mike Mercer comes through with a perfect 38-yard field goal to give Oakland the 43-43 tie. Heartened by the tie with Boston, the Raiders return home to Ewell Field to battle the Denver Broncos. The Raiders took the opening kickoff and quickly moved toward pay dirt. But here, Del Courtney plays prior to the start of the ball game. Payoff play comes on this Cotton Davidson pass to Billy Cannon, with the entire offensive line giving Cotton good protection, making it 7-0 Oakland. Mike Mercer's field goal made it 10-0. Then the Raiders move again. Cotton gets a great effort out of N. Ken Hirak of West Virginia for a gain of 20 yards. Touchdown comes on this Cotton to Cannon pitch as we cut in the slow motion, and the score goes 17-0 Oakland. This Jackie Lee to Hurett Dixon play, covering 65 yards, sets up Denver's lone score. Dixon is knocked out of bounds by Howie Williams of Howard University. Lee keeps on the quarterback sneak for the touchdown. The Raiders scored another, and after an interception by Fred Williamson of Northwestern, Clem Daniels, finding himself after a slow start, scampers 42 yards after fine blocks by Hawkins and Rice. That play sets up this Davidson to Powell pass from the 4-yard line for the score. The Raiders added another TD and field goal to gain a convincing 40-7 win, their first of the season. Carol Weaver, president of the Oakland Bank of Commerce, is introduced here to Clem Daniels by Bill Gorman, a leader in the Raiders Booster Club. Clem is one of several Raiders who do their banking at the Bank of Commerce, a full-service bank that's been helping to build the East Bay in Northern California for over a quarter of a century. Such firms as Lloyd Wise Oldsmobile and HAC Trucking Company have depended on Bank of Commerce service. With a full line of banking service, including checking, maximum interest savings accounts, trust departments, safety deposit vaults, and loan department, the Oakland Bank of Commerce has added another feature indicative of their up-to-date modern thinking. All coins dispersed go through the coin laundry. The Oakland Bank of Commerce continues to build for the future of the East Bay and Northern California, and as a public service, take great pleasure in once again presenting the Oakland Raiders highlight film for your enjoyment. The Raiders dropped road games to Kansas City and San Diego, but showed the great silver and black spirit when they returned home to face the ever-dangerous Houston Oilers. Here's defensive line coach Tom Doms, a little All-American at San Diego State, and later a great pro lineman himself. It was 3-3 going into the second half, and we pick up the action as Hoot Gibson returns a punt 29 yards to the Houston 43-yard line. The Davidson to Powell duo clicks again, and the slow motion camera records Art's TD as the score goes to 10-3. Now Houston quarterback George Blanda, back to pass, is smacked by Big Ben Davidson, the Washington University Giant. The fumble is recovered by Dalva Alla of Houston U. Here now is Cotton Davidson on his patented draw play as he runs up the middle for 16 yards. And from field level and in slow motion, Cotton goes to his favorite target, Art Powell, for another score to make it 17-3. Houston scored another touchdown, and Mike Mercer added 3 more points for Oakland, and it ended 20-10 for the Raiders. Trying to put victories back-to-back and seeking revenge for an earlier defeat, the Raiders tangle with the New York Jets. Large crowd on hand, and here's defensive back coach Charlie Sumner, a former William & Mary star, later a great pro player himself, working with the club during the warm-up drills. With the score 10-0 in favor of New York, Dick Klein takes this short kickoff, laterals to Billy Cannon, who gets blocks from Dan Connors of Miami University and Rex Mirich of Arizona State as he goes to the 40-yard line. From this fine field position, Cotton Davidson finds Clem Daniels. The Prairie View flash gives a fine effort on this 60-yard TD play in slow motion that puts Oakland right back in the ball game. Both teams score again. New York has a 20-14 lead at halftime. Here in the third quarter, Cotton hits Cannon on a swing pass. Billy bobbles it, but retains control to put the Raiders in scoring position. Now the payoff as Cannon dives up and over for the touchdown in slow motion. Mercer's kick puts Oakland in the lead for the first time, 21-20. And early in the fourth quarter, the Raiders boost their lead when Cotton Davidson finds Billy Cannon all alone in the end zone. The game draws to a close. The Raiders drive again. A big play, this 50-yard reception by Kenny Hirak. Now Cotton Davidson with a fine comeback block by Art Powell and a good straight arm bootlegs it in to make the final count 35-26. The Buffalo Bills, needing a victory to cinch the Eastern Division title, invade Ewell Field, and the Raiders, running a winning momentum for the first time, are eager for the challenge. Here, equipment man Dick Romansky prepares for the game. Trainer George Anderson and his assistant gets the pregame taping job finished. We pick up action in the ball game in the second period. The game scoreless at 0-0. Oakland on the attack with Tom Flores at quarterback. Flores gets the march underway with a 27-yarder to Powell. Clem Daniels stuns Buffalo as he makes this fine reception between 2 defenders to break the scoring ice. A 40-yard field goal by Mike Mercer makes it 10-0, and then the Bills roar back as Darryl LaMonica hits Cookie Gilchrist for an 11-yard gain, with Cookie stopped by John Williamson. Now with pressure from Dave Costa and Dan Birdwell, LaMonica clicks with the dangerous Albert DeBenian, and it goes 10-7. Coach Davis on the sidelines appears apprehensive. 2 Buffalo field goals make it 13-10. The Raiders are forced to come back. On his own 25, Flores finds the elusive Roberson for 11. now scrambling for time. Tom hits Bo again for 28 yards. Penalty stalled the drive, but Flores now fighting the clock as well as the Bills. Goes back once again into passing formation. Tom looks downfield and he clicks with Clem Daniels for 11 yards with just 40 seconds remaining on the scoreboard clock. With the crowd sensing another cliff-hanging finish, Flores pumps it to Art Powell, who zips out of bounds to stop the clock. 34 precious seconds remain. Flores cool as the proverbial cucumber now. Tom sends it to Powell once again. Art holds on to the ball after a hard tackle. Now just 8 seconds left and 8 yards left to go. Flores fires to Bo Roberson just inside the end zone. And Bo is fouled, giving Oakland first and goal on the one with just 4 seconds left. There's no question as Flores looks for Powell. Fires it high, and Art makes a great leaping catch over a frustrated Butch Bird for the touchdown. What a finish as Oakland wins a never-to-be-forgotten 16-13 thriller. Art Powell, a great hero, is carried off the field by the fans. And buoyed by their tremendous win over the Bills, the Raiders welcomed hated rival San Diego into Ewell Field for the season finale. Although having wrapped up the Western Division title, the Chargers came to town determined to whip the Silver and Black. The Raiders prepared for the kickoff. Here's offensive line coach Ollie Spencer, a former Kansas University All-American and professional star, explaining the game strategy to Doug Brown. Leading 3-0 going into the second quarter, the Chargers move briskly toward pay dirt. Here, quarterback John Hadle connects with end Don Norton for 41 yards. Norton is run out of bounds by Warren Powers of Nebraska University. 3 plays later, Hadle, despite a push by Dave Costa, joins with the elusive Paul Lowe for another 41-yard gain and a touchdown, making it 10-0. But the Raiders bounce right back with Bo Roberson returning this kickoff a big 43 yards. The drive carries to the Charger 26, and then in slow motion, Tom Flores sends it to the corner of the end zone to Art Powell, putting the Raiders close at 10-7. The defense does its part now as Warren Powers intercepts a pass intended for Lance Allworth, and getting a key block on Allworth from Archie Matsis, returns it 33 yards. With less than a minute remaining in the half and the ball in the Charger 35, Flores hits ex-Charger Bobby Jackson of New Mexico State for 10 yards. Now it goes to Art Powell for 15 and another first down at the Charger 10. The score comes in slow motion on a throw to Gene Mingo, who's wide open in the end zone. And the Raiders hold a 14-10 lead at the halftime. Chargers got good field position on the second half kickoff. Leslie Duncan goes 38 yards before determined Joe Krakowski of Illinois pulls him down. Veteran quarterback Tobin Rote, replacing Hadle, clicks with Paul Lowe for 22 yards. Lowe gets the call again and scores on this perfectly executed sweep covering 28 yards. Keith Lincoln's PAT makes it 17-14 San Diego. The versatile Lincoln adds a 33-yard field goal to make it 20-14 San Diego going into the fourth period. The Raiders go to their ground game as Daniels, with blocks from Hawkins and Rice, rips right tackle for 38 yards. Now from field level, Daniels goes outside the right end for 17 more yards. Let's look at that play once again in slow motion. Flores gives to Daniels. Can't find the hole inside, so he goes outside. From field level once again, Billy Cannon follows the same route for 20 yards. Two more plays, gain to the Charger 13, and Flores goes to the air attack. And we watch in slow motion as Cannon gathers in a TD pass at the goal line to make it 20-20. Now Mike Mercer boots the most important point of the day, and the rallying Raiders wrap it up 21-20, ending the 1964 season on a high note. At season's end, two of the Raiders, center Jim Otto and Art Powell, the offensive end, made the official all-league team, Otto making it for the fifth year in a row. Two additional Raiders, offensive guard Wayne Hawkins and halfback Clem Daniels, joined with Powell and Otto to be vital cogs in the Western Division team who defeated the Eastern team in the All-Star game. In their first truly professional football draft, the Raiders acquired some outstanding collegiate football players. Among them, Harry Shue, a fine offensive lineman from Memphis State; Fred Biletnikoff, an offensive end from Florida State; Bob Spihas, an offensive tackle from the University of Southern California; Larry Todd, a halfback from Arizona State University; Kent McLuhan, a halfback from Nebraska. In closing, we'd like to introduce the dynamic young man who heads the Oakland Raiders as general manager and head coach, Al Davis.
Thank you, Bob. In 1964, we had a fine professional football draft. But as in 1963 and in 1964, we knew that more than points, we needed a sense of pride and we needed poise. And the veteran football players that you have just watched in this highlight film now have that pride and poise, and they will be the hardcore of our football team in 1965. The new television contract with NBC will give us greater coverage and more exposure than ever before, as well as the great 7 rivalries that we'll play at Frank Yule Field. You'll be able to watch the Raiders battle the Eastern Division football teams and the Western Division football teams this coming year. The Boston Patriots, the champion Buffalo Bills, the up-and-coming New York Jets, and you'll be able to witness the Houston Oilers in their new stadium, the Dome Stadium of Houston, as well as the Kansas City Chiefs, the Denver Broncos, and the Chargers of San Diego. I want to reiterate that we did not come to Oakland and the East Bay for the sake of a job. We came because we believe in the future of this team and the future of this area. My enthusiasm has not diminished for the job in the years to come. And I hope your enthusiasm will continue, and come what may, be proud too that you are a vital part of the progress of this football team. As well as on the TV and radio networks, we hope we'll see you in the stadium in 1965.